The terminal. People are always afraid of that little black box with that blinking white cursor. And if you've been using OpenClaw, if you've been using Claude code the right way, if you've been using any of these, have you heard the term CLI, command line interface, you know the developers, they don't like graphical user interfaces, GUIs. They like to use their fingers and they like to type and they like to see a little terminal screen. Now, funny story, I actually don't. I actually prefer a GUI. I'm the guy, Brandon always, my developer always makes fun of me because when he develops servers and stuff, he's just using command line. But I like to click on my computer. I like to open up a Windows a browser, whether it's Windows or Mac OS or Linux or whatever. And when I've installed our OpenClaw, if you guys have used the OpenClaw process to install on a virtual private server like what we're doing, by the way, that process doesn't actually change in what we're doing now. Um, it's just instead of using Hostinger or whatever, we're just using our own private servers that we have control over. You'll notice that what happens is if you go to Hostinger and you buy one of their pre-built, VPS packages, that it doesn't even have access to a computer screen. There's nothing on there. It's just black. There's no way to use a browser. And the first thing we do is install an operating system graphical user interface, or what's called a KDE, and it allows it to use a browser and install the Chrome relay and all that kind of stuff. So, but what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little training on the terminal just so you guys feel comfortable if anything ever goes wrong. So, and if you need to install stuff and whatever, sometimes you'll just need to pop into the terminal and make a couple commands. Or if something gets stuck, you have to go into it and figure out how to unstuck it. I made this training for pretty much anyone who doesn't matter what level of skill or ability you're at, you're going to learn some stuff. And by the way, even making this training and going through it and preparing for it, I was like, oh, I learned some stuff. But the cool part is that throughout this process, what I realized was the terminal is designed for lazy people. The people that designed this wanted it to be as absolutely simple as possible. And I promise you that by the end of this training today, you're going to be a lot more comfortable with the terminal and you'll be able to do useful things in there. All right. So first off, I want to dedicate a great thank you to Bo, my AI employee, who's been running on OpenClaw since he was stood up in the Philippines. My team and I developed him. I think it was February 19th. So he's already a month old. Bo is already a month old. So he's been working on a website here for since March 1st. Um, March 1st was the very first day that he made this website here for us to basically document what he does every day. He's wrote his own blogs. He's explaining how he's like the Tamagotchi that gets smarter every day, that he wants to help people breathe. And he's been making like the very first thing he did was use cases of how we're already using him. But last night, he actually made all three of our resources for today, including the training slides, which I thought were actually really freaking good. And I love how he made the slides in this HTML and embedded it into the website itself, which I thought was really sexy with little movable animations and stuff, and it's clean. And again, back to what I was saying, the terminal training you're going to get today is just realize that you don't have to know anything and you could be completely lazy and you can figure this out. And there's a lot of cool little tips and tricks because even if you don't know anything, you're still going to be able to get a lot of value out of the terminal after this training today. Okay. And you just have to remember this one little phrase here. The terminal was built for people who got tired of clicking 47 times to do one thing. Like you ever see how long those commands are? I'm going to show you some really cool stuff here. So a couple fun facts though before we start is that the terminal was invented in the 1960s. There was no mouse not until much later. People were using the keyboard terminals to do all this stuff. And technically every click is a command. So for example, everything that you're doing to a computer is actually a command line. It's just giving you a graphical user interface. And by moving things around, that's how you're giving the computer the instructions. So if you drag a folder into the recycle bin, on a computer or the trash on a Mac OS, guess what's happening? That's just a visual representation of you saying delete and then whatever the folder is or the file is that you're putting in there. So it's actually doing the command. You're just not seeing the command. So let me show you some cool things that you might not know of. I'm actually going to open up a remote desktop so we can play around. I'm going to load up Bo as well. I'm going to load up Bo so we can play around with him. So you guys can see what Bo's up to. Oh, I can see Bo's been very busy on my server. Wow. Bo has been very busy. You guys see that? Bo has been very busy today, it looks like. He's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs open. Let's see what else he's got. His gateway. Let's take a look and just see what I'm going to refresh the usage page and find out. In the past 7 days, Bo has used 65.2 million tokens. It would have cost $30 in API credits for everything he's done. He's being used in 11 different sessions. That's kind of cool. So on my Discord, I have a team that uses Bo, and that means that he's been used in 11 different chats over the course of the past 7 days. He's used 65 million tokens, and we can see here some really interesting stats. Let me zoom in. The average tokens per message is 74,000 tokens. That's because I've been having him build some really big things, which I'll show you guys. Like obviously making slides and building landing pages and sales pages and all this kind of stuff. I'm having him do all sorts of crazy stuff. I can see that right now he's used 10 different tools to do everything and that he's done 565 tool calls. So a tool call is anytime the large language model is using something to complete a task. So for example, every time it's opening up this browser right here. So what it's doing is it's looking to see what this website looks like. So I can see that because I'm having it work on this website, it's using it, it's opening it up, it's probably taking some screenshots, it's checking to see what kind of work is. Every time it's opening up the browser, that's a tool call. Every time it's pushing something to GitHub, that's a tool call. Every time it's uploading to Vercel, that's a tool call. Every time it's sending a message to Discord or it's downloading something from Discord. So basically, every time the large language model is using something else, that's the IO layer. That's what NVIDIA was talking about. That's what Jensen was talking about when he did his 10,000 word keynote about OpenClaw at the NVIDIA GTC conference. Talk about, I was in love. I was like, oh my gosh. All last week, all he talked about was OpenClaw, which is so cool. And obviously, they have a vested interest because OpenClaw is using a lot of the equipment, right? NVIDIA's equipment. It's really the input output layer. But you can see all the different things that's happening here. But here's what I'm talking about when I say the terminal. This right here is actually what most of these tools are using. This is a terminal user interface. This terminal user interface is actually the brain. It's like clicking on this chat here. Okay, I can see here all the different things that we've got going on. I can see that in the web team, it's working on this website, all these little tools it's using. This is like the brain, but we can also see that using the terminal user interface or the terminal itself. This is just a terminal right here. This is Bo's computer, right? This isn't the brain, right? This is the brain. There we go. Perfect. All right. So these are terminals, and these terminals are how you communicate with, this is how you communicate with the computer, okay? And this is how you communicate with Bo. The cool part is Bo can communicate with the computer. The bad thing is Bo can communicate with the computer. So Bo can literally delete itself if we wanted to. We could just tell him, Bo, you've been a fantastic guy, but your time has come to an end. Delete yourself. And he would, because right now I've given him full permission and I've given my team full permission to delete Bo if they wanted to. Now I trust my team and I know they wouldn't do something stupid like that. But, sometimes people do things that are stupid. So, whenever anybody says anything about permissions and things, just know permissions are controversial to me because the reason why I love OpenClaw is because it can do anything. Okay? Claude Code can't do anything. OpenClaw can do anything. All right. So let's play around here for a little bit. We're going to go through the training. We're going to come back to Bo. I'm going to close Bo for now. If you haven't noticed, one of the, again, it's been designed for lazy people. And I wasn't kidding about that. Inside the terminal, you can literally type almost anything and you press tab and it autofills. Okay. You can also use your up and down arrows to find your previous commands, things that you've written in the past. Every time you press up, it goes previous. And then if you press the down arrow, it goes forward to the most recent thing that you've done. You can copy and paste in there. Did you know that you can actually drag and drop files into the terminal and it will give you exactly what that file and location is? So it works in a lot of different ways. And the more you play with it, the more comfortable you get. Some of you might be thinking, I don't want to play with it at all, but it is important to be comfortable with it. So here's some navigation commands that are kind of important to know. For example, PWD stands for print working directory. This is just where I am. I think I'm actually going to come back into Bo and we'll just go back and forth a little bit and just kind of show you how this works. Now, there's a difference between, let me minimize it. Actually, I'm not going to minimize it. We'll just bring it up here. Let me do a side by side. There we go. So this is the actual bot here. Hello. If I type hello here, guess what? This is our actual OpenClaw. This is this is Bo. You can see he says, "Okay, what's up? How can I help?" If I come over here and I type hello, it's going to say this command is not found, but it can be installed. Okay? So basically, just remember the terminal is not AI. This is just your computer. This is you're giving it commands. Okay? On the other side of it, this is the terminal user interface. This is your AI. But how do you do that? Let me type this command /BYE. Oh, actually, it's exit on this. On the terminal user. So you see how I'm typing E, and then you can see all the different things here. I can press up and down. So I don't have to know all the commands. I can just type any letter, and any command that is on here will be there. Look, I'm going to type B. I'm going to type C. I'm going to type D. Did you see under C it says commands? If I press C and I press the tab button now, I'm going to press tab, it autofills whatever's in there. See that? And I just press that, press enter. So now this will tell me, here's all the different commands that I can use with a little bit of instructions on what they are. Here's your slash commands: session, stop, reset, new, compact, options. Here's usage, think, verbose. This is telling you a little bit about everything that you can actually have him do. And by the way, the the terminal user interface is really important and valuable for troubleshooting things as well. Okay. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But basically, this again, remember, this is AI assisted. So this is him working with you or her or it, whatever you decide it is. Bo is a him, short for Beauregard. He is a Southern gentleman. He's a very classy Southern gentleman. Um, so that's how that works over here. But again, like I was showing you here, actually, it might be easier if I just open up a new browser. If you press the tab button on your keyboard, it will auto-complete sentences, like I was saying earlier. Okay? So, for example, if I want to type in, let's do PWD. Remember that is print working directory. So it's telling me that right now I'm in the folder home/Bo. Okay? Now, if you guys are on Windows, you know what this command is, dir, directory. Okay, it works on everything. You can see everything that's inside here. You can see the desktop, the documents, the downloads, the music, picture, public, whatever. Okay. And by the way, Bo even made a really cool little cheat sheet for you guys to show all the different commands that you've got. So This is your Linux commands cheat sheet right here. There it is. Here's your print working directory. This is where you are. List your files in directory. This will help you change to a directory, for example, CD documents. Okay, so let me do that. So we see that there's documents in here. I can type CD, and then guess what? I press the letter D. What do you think's going to happen here, guys, if I press the tab button? What do you think's going to autofill? Because there's multiple folders in here with names that start with the D. What do you think's going to happen in here? Nothing. You know why? It's case sensitive. It was a trick question. So actually, this directory is, if you look at this, it says users, AI, VAPC, OpenClaw, workspace, whatever, LS. Wait a second. Interesting. LS. This is literally some of the things that with the terminal that's really funny because literally two different commands that do basically the same thing. All right. That was just an example I wanted to throw in your faces for a second. But let me go through this and we'll come back to that. That was just for fun. I'm going to show you guys here. If you press the up, if I show you guys the up arrow, so you can see that I typed ls. If you press the up arrow again, it shows you the directory. There's pwd. You can see I typed hello. Then look, I'm showing you how I'm listing a directory here. I can show you these are different things that I've done before. OpenClaw gateway restart, my favorite command. And you guys have probably typed it in too many times if you've been inside of a terminal, right? And then, you can kind of see like everything that you've done, if you think about it, which is kind of cool, it shows you what you've done. And you can also type in things like if I'm going to type in OpenClaw, open, right? Or if I type open with a C, see that? So now open C L and I'm pressing tab, it auto completes. Okay. There's lots of different things too, especially with directories too. So like if we want to go inside of a folder, CD music, there is no directory. Oh, well, that's why I wouldn't find anything earlier. Oh, is it case sensitive? I don't think so, is it? Yeah, it is. Oh, that's what it was. I messed up my own thing. It was case sensitive. So now I'm in my music folder, right? So this is how you, and by the way, most of the time you won't have to do this. If you're working with OpenClaw and stuff, you won't actually have to do that because there's a massive cool little hack that I use. Ready for this? It's called Claude. All right. So I actually use Claude. And one of the cool features about Claude is, and I don't know if one of you guys did this or not, but there's an actual guide that there's a minified version of the entire OpenClaw docs. And what we do is we actually have, let me see if I'm logged in on Claude on this computer. There we go. So I actually have an OpenClaw bug troubleshooting chat. All right. And what I highly recommend is that you create a Claude. And by the way, Claude is absolutely better at troubleshooting than ChatGPT. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out there. Claude is way better at troubleshooting OpenClaw than ChatGPT. ChatGPT will give you weird commands. Like sometimes it was like OpenClaw restart. I'm like, there is no OpenClaw restart. Did you mean OpenClaw gateway restart? And it was like, yes, that's what I meant. Please type that in. So what I do is I actually have a troubleshooting where the documents that are attached, it actually has the documents attached to it. And I will make sure that on this training video and the replay that you guys have a link to that because it's really cool. It takes all the massive documentation and it turns it into a markdown file that you can easily just give your Claude or even you could use ChatGPT, but I think Claude is better and you can bring up problems. So one of the things that you want to do is I always have Claude open on one side of my screen and I have my OpenClaw open on the other or VPS. And if you get stuck, don't worry because you can just take a screenshot of what you're doing and send it to Claude and say, hey, I'm having an issue. I'm trying to do this. Okay. All right. So ls is how you can just list the files of where you're at. CD dot dot is how to go up one level. Basically, you're going back. And CD with a little tilde, this little squiggly line, takes you back to the home folder. Okay. Now, you'll notice here that sometimes there's going to be some hidden folders or hidden files. And if you do ls, that means, right, list, that's list your files. And if you do a dash LA, that will show you any hidden files because sometimes like config files and things like that will be hidden. Just the same way as I showed you in the training video on setting up your VPS OpenClaw. When you do that, you'll see that by default, the .openclaw folder is hidden. So you have to like use Control H to find those files. Well, Control H in the command line is actually dash LA. Okay. So these are really important things to know too. Now, again, the cool part is that you don't have to do this. You can actually ask Bo, your AI OpenClaw, to do this for you. You can ask him on any channel, Discord, whatever, just for the sake of today. I'm going to ask Bo. I'm going to say, can you show me your folder directory or folder? Actually, show me your folders in your workspace. So watch this. Can you show me your workspace folders? So there's probably a better way to say it, but the cool part is it's AI, so um, it can help. Okay, so these are all the folders that it's got right now. I can see Claw Hub, Git, Learnings, OpenClaw, PI, SOPs, activities and summaries, agents, AI to VA staffer, backups, design briefs, docs, lead gen, memory, notes, right? So if you want, I can also just show the important working folders, a tree, or what's inside. You know what? Let's see a tree. So again, remember that your OpenClaw agent, if you're using OpenClaw, it actually has access to the computer. It can do anything in the computer. So now it's going to show you a tree of where everything's at. See that? It's even showing me all the files inside the file space. Look at the memory archives. There's the notes. This is all using the AI Persona OS, so it has a very specific workspace structure. SOPs. Look at that. It's showing everything. By the way, if you want it to stop, you can hit slash abort. Did you know that? So if you're like, man, this is going on forever, when is it going to end? I'm just going to click abort. Okay? It's done. It doesn't hurt anything. It just tells it to stop what it's doing. Okay? Now, let's just say I want to add a new folder called Jeff is cool. If I know it correctly, it's going to ask me where. Okay. It just wants to put a Jeff is cool folder in the workspace and I'll make it do it. There you go. Now Jeff is cool's in the workspace. Where did you put it? So this is actually how you're using the AI to help you. So look where it's doing it. Home, Bo, OpenClaw, workspace, Jeff is cool. See that? If you want, I can put a file inside of it so it's not empty. No, I'd like you to delete the folder and be very careful with this. Okay? Be very careful because it could easily delete the entire workspace. Right? You can easily, I can have it delete the workspace folder right now if I wanted to, and it would literally delete itself. So this is why you have to be very careful. Okay? Because again, OpenClaw is cool because it can do anything. It's also very dangerous because it can do anything. Okay? All right, let's go back to some slides. So it can make a directory. By the way, so just so you know, what it did was when I said, "Can you make a folder called Jeff is cool?" This is what it did. It just typed make directory, and it put it there. See, it can copy a file. It can touch a file. Like, um, I want you to. So let me look and see here. We have a heartbeat MD, or we have identity MD. Okay. Uh, I want to see your identity. .md. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Identity.md. What's in it? Now, the cool part is in the terminal user interface, I can ask it to summarize. But let me show you something cool. Let me ask you guys a question. How would you look and see a file in the terminal? How would you see a file in the terminal? I'm going to show you right here. View. Okay. Here is cat file. So cat, C-A-T, and then whatever the file name is. And then if you want to do less, what it does is it instead of displaying the entire file, it does page by page, and you press the button Q to quit. Okay? So for example, I want the exact location of that file. Give me full location. So this is the cool part. This is how you can actually use these hand in hand. So I can see here the full path is home, bow, OpenClaw, workspace, identity, right? So let's just say I want to view this file in the terminal. What command would I give? So if you ever get stuck, this is what I want to show you guys. If you ever get stuck, you can actually ask your own OpenClaw agent how to do what you're trying to do. Okay? So let's find out. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to open up the other terminal. We're going to find out what happens here. Okay? So I'm going to do a cd dot dot, cd space dot dot. That takes me back to Bo's folder. Okay? Now I'm going to paste in my command. And remember, Control C is not copy. Control C is cancel. So if I would have been here, watch what happens if I go here and I press Control C. Watch what happens. You'll see here it says Control C again to exit. So what it did was it was the command to exit. If I press Control C again, it's going to literally exit the TUI. I do like that it's been programmed in here that it takes doing it twice in case you press Control C on accident. But in the terminal, it's a done deal. There is no take backs. So now if I take this command here, cat, copy this here, I'm going to paste this over here. There you go. This is the identity file. Who am I? You're Bo. You're an AI assistant with a Southern gentleman's manner. Your vibe is warm, measured, strategic, diplomatic. There's your emoji, which doesn't show up in here. It's a hat, by the way. Your workspace relative path. This isn't just metadata. It's the start of figuring out who you are. Save this file as identity.md for avatars. Use the workspace, whatever. Okay. And by the way, you can even go deeper on who your identity is. I like to keep mine nice and clean and simple. Okay. Now, if you want to edit the file, look at this. You can use Nano. Okay. Nano lets you see it and also lets you edit. Nano is the built-in editor into the terminal. So now you can see here, you guys if you ever edited a file, you'll see how this works. So you can change this. Note, save this file wherever. For avatars, use the workspace avatars bow. Okay. Let me see here. Diplomatic. Remember, the mouse doesn't work. So if you come in here and you try click stuff, it's not going to work. Okay. You're an AI assistant with Southern charm. Here's your vibe. I'm going to put on here challenges bad thought. Now, if I want to save this, can you guys see down the very bottom? There's some commands here. On the very bottom, if I want to save it, I'm actually going to use write out. Write out. That means to write that file, overwrite this file. Okay? And that little caret going up, that is the control button. That is the control button. So to save the file, write out, I would say Control O. Now it's going to ask me, do you want to save this as the same file name? See, it says identity.md. Now I press enter. Boom. It is now done. It wrote 18 lines. So that is now the new identity.md. And to exit, now you press Control X. Boom. Now we're back. So that is basically the text editor in the terminal if you ever need to make changes to things. But guess what I could have done? Watch this. On the identity file, I've added a new um, addition to the creature line. Do you see it? So I'm going to ask Bo if he sees anything different about the file. See it? Look, what changed? I see an addition. War, measured, strategic, diplomatic, challenges, bad thought. The creature will still say this, and I'm going to say this. Um, do you think that could be improved? Yes, I do. Challenges bad thought gets its idea across, but it reads a little stiff and unfinished. It sounds more like a note to the self. A better option would be warm, measured, strategic, but unafraid to challenge bad thinking. Warm, measured, strategic, willing to challenge flawed thinking, pushing back on bad ideas, not afraid to question weak reasoning. I like the first one. I like the first suggestion. Unafraid to challenge bad thinking. Oh, it liked that too. So guess what? Now it's going to update its own file. Okay. So I'm hoping that by now you're seeing that the terminal is something that's important to learn how to use, but your OpenClaw can do it for you. Are we getting that? So look what it did. It says it directly requested edit. I've updated it too. Now guess what's happening? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to literally use cat. We're going to press enter and there it is. There's the new file. Warm, measured, strategic, diplomatic, and unafraid to challenge bad thinking. Let me ask you guys a question. Are you guys going to use the terminal or are you going to ask your OpenClaw? Would you guys rather ask your OpenClaw to make the edit or would you like to make the edit yourself? You can unmute. I'm curious. What what are you guys going to do? Okay, you guys are saying you would do it yourself? Yeah? Cool. So there's just two different ways to do it, right? And again, this is the same as going into your Discord, right? So if I pop open my Discord, so Bo's working on a website. So this is just on Discord. I can see he's working really hard trying to make this website look right, right? So it's the same thing. If you follow my instructions, you're adding it to Discord or Telegram or WhatsApp. Where are you guys communicating with your OpenClaw bots, by the way? I'm very curious. Let's throw that in the chat. I'm very curious. I'm also going to ask it, what is in your identity.md file? So I'm also going to just ask him here a different channel. You guys don't have to get afraid of using the terminal. It's the same thing. Remember, the beauty about OpenClaw is that it has the power to control your computer from anywhere, right? This is also why I say you should have it in a very specific, um, virtual private server or whatever, right? You don't want it to control all the stuff on your computer. I don't know. Maybe there's a use case where you do, but in my case, I don't. I want it to have its own space. Okay. So, by the way, did you notice how the identity looks so much better in Discord because it has the markdown files? You can see now, you can see the emojis, the hat, right? So you can see that natively, Bo has been using, I've basically only used Discord to work on Bo, right? So watch this. I'm going to ask him, based on everything you know about me and my team and the tasks that you perform and your responsibilities, your role in the company, how do you think this could be improved? Isn't that cool? So remember, I like to use the Tamagotchi reference because every time you're playing with your OpenClaw or your Claude code or whatever, and this is again a big separator between Claude code and OpenClaw. OpenClaw really, and I've noticed this with my clients too, who heavily use Claude code like me. OpenClaw, it really was designed and it's inside its code, in its own presence to be an identity, to have a soul, right? Like the soul.md file was probably one of the coolest ever thoughts of AI to me, because then it goes beyond just a doer, but a beer. It exists and it has awareness of its existence. If we take a look at this, we can see here, yes, sir, I do think it can be improved. I'll say this plainly. I checked my memory first and didn't get a useful recall back, so this is based on the workspace context. The current identity is good on tone, but it doesn't capture who I am operationally inside VA Staffer. From the work you've had me do, I'm not just pleasant, thoughtful, and well-mannered. I'm also a builder. I'm a brand steward. I'm a sales supporting operator, a systems thinker, a challenger of weak thinking, a translator between technical execution and founder level outcomes. My recommendations are I'd improve the identity so it reflects four things more clearly. Not just an AI assistant, but something closer to an AI employee, a strategic operator, a builder, a trusted right hand. What I actually do in the company is I build assets, I support Jeff, I create pages and resources, I help train and scale AI employees, I preserve. How cool is that? Right? Like it's already, this is what I'm saying. It has its own self-identity and it has its own self-awareness of what it's doing for me and the company. My best recommendation, the cleanest upgrade, I like it. Very good. I like it. Let's do that. So now it's going to write that file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back over to the terminal and show you guys now that it's been updated. Okay. And by the way, I'm spending a little bit of time on this because it's really important that you guys understand that what you do with the AI is actually writing to the computer. All the AI is doing command line interface. It's using the terminal. Your operational capacity of the terminal, if you're using something like OpenClaw, gives you a lot more ability than what you normally would do because you just don't know. So let's go ahead and take a look now. If we take a look here in the terminal, the command line interface, I'm going to press the up arrow and I'm just going to press this button again and look at the identity. So this is it. So now you can see here, this is it. AI employee, strategic operator, Southern gentleman, vibe, warm, measured, strategic, diplomatic. Jeff J. Hunter's AI right hand for building, refining, and scaling VA staffers' assets, systems, and AI employees. See? Pretty cool, right? All right. So you guys are hopefully feeling a little bit better about. See, I wanted to show you all these commands, but at the same time, I wanted to show you that you don't have to know all of them, and you can use your OpenClaw agent to do this because it's been trained on how to use the command line interface. Now, these ones are actually important for you to know because if you use these commands, OpenClaw will stop working or it will not function correctly. Or, for example, if you do an OpenClaw gateway restart, it will actually stop whatever it's doing and it won't respond to you because it's cut itself off. So these are things that you actually need to learn. For example, opening up the OpenClaw TUI. So I'm gonna press Control C twice. It's gonna cancel. Watch Control C, boom, we're out of there. You could have also typed /exit, same thing. Okay. So now if I want to open it again, I type OpenClaw TUI. That means terminal user interface. That's what this is. This is the direct connection to its brain. It's faster than the web interface. It's faster than a Discord connection because it's directly plugged into the terminal of the computer that it lives on. Okay. If you do a /session here, so if I hit this slash and I type session, I don't have to press tab or anything. All I have to do is press enter on whatever I want. So I can go to any of these things and press enter. In this case, I'm going to press enter on session, and that just brings up the session. So I can see that there's 3 sessions live open right now. The heartbeat, there's 11 hours ago, there was a message in the creative team chat. And then 3 minutes ago, we were just talking about the identity in the web team chat. So I can actually, from the terminal user interface, switch into whatever session that I want to go into at any time. Okay, so I can come in here and take a peek. And this is also how you can tell your token usage. Look at this. It says here that inside my current channel in Heartbeat, it has 29 out of 272. If I go into the web chat, you'll see here that it's used 111 out of its 272K token limit. Okay. By the way, I will tell you that sometimes things don't work right. Okay. See how I'm using ChatGPT 5.4? All right. One of the things that really messes up a lot is OpenClaw still has a challenge compacting its memory. So if I do /compact, So what it's trying to do here is compacting is when you start getting high, once your context window gets up there, what compaction does is it takes everything you've been doing in the session, it summarizes it, it basically stores it somewhere. But I will tell you that I would say like 25, more recently, more like 50% of the time, it has been failing on the compacting. And I'm hoping that this next update fixes that, but it's super frustrating because sometimes your chats will get hung. So if that happens, it usually means that your session is stuck and you need to clean up your session. So your session will literally get corrupted. And when your session gets corrupted, it doesn't work correctly. So I'm gonna give Bo a chance to try to do this itself, but I have a feeling it's not even Bo's fault. It's like an OpenClaw issue because it's already been a minute and 20 seconds and it has not compacted. I don't know what the timeout is for that. It's a couple of minutes, but my guess is it's not going to work. And I wanted you guys to see what happens. Okay. So there's a couple different things you can do. You can look at your gate, you can look at your OpenClaw status. This is a really good command to know. Okay, OpenClaw status. All right. So when you do that, it's going to literally show you all sorts of stuff. It's pretty comprehensive of everything. It shows you like the full status of what's going on in your OpenClaw. So here's your IP address. It'll tell you like what's going on here. You can see that your memory is dirty, which is probably the one that we're on right now. I can see that there's some critical errors here. The group policy, which by the way, it's critical if people abuse it. Um, the credentials directory is writable by others. Discord security problems. So it's basically saying every single thing that's wrong with it. It's saying that right now it's connected to my Discord channel, that there are these three active sessions running right now. One of them running on Kimmy K, the other one's on ChatGPT. Okay. You can also uh, you can look at the OpenClaw skills. This will show you the different skills that are installed on your OpenClaw. Okay, you can always expand that out, by the way. So I can see I've got voice call, video frames, tmux. All these things are missing, which means that they're installed but not configured. There's a skill creator, right? Let's see what else he's got. Node Connect. These are all the skills that come with it, plus whatever's installed, okay, by you. And then there's OpenClaw Doctor, Gateway Restart, TUI, Health. These are just cool little commands that help you figure out what's going on. So, for example, the health one would actually be useful right now, OpenClaw Health. And I can see that the TUI canceled over here. Let's see what happened. Oh, it actually worked. It compacted. So it took about 2.5 minutes or so, but it was able to compact. So it took that 110K and it did 28K. So I was just capping on it. And by the way, what I've noticed is that once you get to about 250K, it doesn't compact because it actually takes more tokens to compact than you've got left in that token session. So keep an eye from time to time on your on you can actually ask it as well in Discord. What is your context size right now? So I can actually ask it what its context size is right now, and you can also do a status, which will also uh, give you a report of like what the context window looks like right now. Okay. So keep an eye on that. Now, in the AI Persona OS, I have a heartbeat that automatically compacts, but what I've noticed is that it's per session. It's per session. So every session has its own size limit. So you can see right now it says that it's at 45 out of 272. So it was successfully compacted. Remember, it went from 111 down to 18K, and now it's at 45K because it's doing some work. So it's using 16%. So there's a cool command for you guys right here. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to update my little quick sheet here of things that you can just ask your AI employee, your OpenClaw. You can just ask it so that you get an idea of what's going on. You can also program certain things. Like I'm going to ask it here. I'm going to say, what do you? I'm going to say status. I'm just going to type the word status. Okay. And here's what it's going to show you on status. That's so funny. My terminal training turned into an OpenClaw training. It always does that. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, guys. I can't help it. Especially since OpenClaw can run the terminal for you. All right. So if you do status, it's going to also show you what your context is right now. Look, here's your tokens in versus tokens out. It's going to show you what your cache hit is. It's going to show you how many compactions there are. Your thinking is turned off. Elevated is on. Elevated means it can do anything, right? That's the danger zone. Activation means it's mentioned. You have to mention it for it to respond back. So for example, if I say, Bo, you suck, I'm going to say you're cool. He doesn't see that. But guess what? He does see it. He's just not responding. Watch. See, guys? I just want you to know that the AI is always watching. That was my point. The AI is always watching. It's just if you have mention on in your settings, which is right here, it only activates, it only does something when you mention it, but it doesn't mean that it's not watching. So for example, this is my spy right here. This is the Jeff J. Hunter AI persona. It doesn't say anything. Its only job is to monitor my team and see how they're interacting with each other. It does my performance reviews, it does my analysis, it checks to see if people are responding to people on time, it checks to see if there's things that are missing. It's always watching. Just like Brandon, I can see he's about to troll and say something in there. Now he's telling me to go back to CLI. Jeff, go back to the CLI. We're liable to turn this into a personality workshop if we're not careful. Oh, damn! That's not fair. Bo knows me too well. I love to live on the personality side. All right. Last things before we go, because we only have a couple slides left. Um, Navigation. Inside the TUI, we've already gone through this. So in the navigation in the terminal user interface, which is this, is up and down arrows are the same. Okay, so you can look at your previous things you've typed in there. Now, the thing to remember is it's only going to save from that session. It doesn't go back any further. So if you exit the terminal user interface, it's going to be completely clean. Watch, exit. Now I come back into the TUI. If I press the up arrow on this, there's nothing there because it's a brand new session. Okay, unlike the terminal where it saves everything. Okay. So that's something to know. Okay. So obviously, if you want to go to, let's say, help or status, I'm going to type status here. Okay. There we go. So it's going to give us a full status of everything going on here. See how fast that was because it's in the terminal. Boom. Heartbeat, session, model, active sessions, recent things. Here's everything you need to know. Okay. If I want to go into a different level here, like now I'm in this thing, I want to press instead of a back button or whatever, I'm just going to press escape. And that takes me back to where I'm at. Okay. All right. You guys can do that. By the way, I just threw this in here because some of you guys are using Claude Code, which also uses a terminal. Same type of thing. You've got commands. It's literally like using the matter of fact, I would say the TUI was basically, Claude Code. They're basically the same, quite frankly. There's compact, clear, help. It's the same commands. So Claude Code, a lot of those commands are the same. And again, you can do /help and it will actually show you all the commands. On terminal user interface, if you remember, it's /commands. Okay. Last two slides here. So when you're stuck, I always ask Claude. Okay. I always ask Claude. I'm going to update this slide for you guys so that it will actually have the file that I recommend you upload into your Claude, which is a compacted version of the entire OpenClaw docs. It's really cool. So that you can basically train your Claude how to troubleshoot itself, right? Or how to troubleshoot OpenClaw. And that's it. That's my training for the day. I just wanted to give you guys these slides, and also there's a command cheat sheet also a terminal quick reference guide for you guys to use. So if you ever get stuck, again, you can use these. I've got some really cool training in mind. I did a terminal training. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to show you guys if I can get it correct. I'm going to show you guys. I bought a Raspberry Pi. If you guys have heard of a Raspberry Pi, I bought a Raspberry Pi that has an integrated keyboard. It's a really cool device. Um, and it was so funny because I was about to buy one on Amazon. They're like 150 bucks, and just so happened to be like when I opened up my Facebook app, I saw Facebook Marketplace, this guy who lives like 20 minutes away, and he was like selling it for 100 bucks, and it looked like brand new. So I bought it, and turned out he actually works at Amazon in their AI department. So now I have someone who lives near me who's an AI Amazon guy. So I'm like, dude, he was like, we got to keep in touch because on Facebook Marketplace, he saw my profile and how I'm talking about OpenClaw all the time. But what's really cool is that I want to show you guys how you can use these OpenClaw instances. And matter of fact, I think what I'll do is like what Jim and Jeannie and you guys are wanting to know. How am I actually organizing this? How am I actually using OpenClaw in my business? What do I have them separated to do? When do you know you've taught an AI enough compared to when I should create another OpenClaw? That's probably a big question, right? Like, how do I know? So, I'm gonna go through that. All right, guys, have a good one. See ya.